Ever since we defeated Sargeras back in Legion, World of Warcraft hasn't had a big villain, the ultimate evil of the series. Sure, we had a pathetic excuse for the jailer, but we never had a villain of such caliber until now. Now in Midnight, we are facing a threat that we had never faced before, a villain even Sargeras was afraid of, and the whole reason why he started his Burning Crusade in the first place. He knew the Void Lords couldn't be defeated by conventional means. The entire creation of the Black Empire, Old Gods, Void, everything on Azeroth has been gearing up for this day, for this grand Void invasion. So far, we know of two named Void Lords, Dimensius and Invalidus, and these guys don't open a portal and attack you with an army. On one occasion, they just summoned a surge of energies and blew up the entire planet. On the other hand, we know of one time a Naaru had actually managed to banish them. The Naaru and the Light are returning in Midnight, but so is Dimensius. So how do we even fight a villain like this, and do we even stand a chance? If you wanted anything Warcraft related, Gamivo has the best deals on the market that you can get with my link below. You can get almost every other game's software, and they also just added mobile top-ups for all your favorite mobile games with the craziest prices. You can also use my code DORON to get yet another discount, so click my link and get the best deals at Gamivo. Ever since we defeated Sargeras, you gotta admit, WoW never really felt like it had a big bad, a big ultimate villain threatening our very existence. After that, we got faction wars, afterlife, dragons, but it didn't feel anywhere close to the threat Sargeras and the Legion were, especially as they had all been built up since Warcraft 3. There was potential with a big threat with the jailer and the way he was up behind everything, but you all know how that ended. However, it looks like, by the way things are going right now, we are going to get something like that once again. The Void Lords have been built up for over 10 years by this point, and the existence of the Void as a force was present since day one of World of Warcraft. By all the logic, the Void is a much bigger threat than Sargeras and the Legion ever were. Keep in mind, Sargeras only created the Legion and did what he did in order to fight the Void Lords. So yeah, we have celebrated a bit that we defeated the big bad Sargeras, but we really did ourselves a terrible disservice. While Sargeras was of course a planet-destroying madman, most of his army was actually on the front lines fighting the Void army all across the universe. That was his primary goal. Since we had shattered his regeneration engine and broke the demonic army, the Void has had its hands completely free, and as you can witness, just about a decade later we're going to get the biggest Void invasion of Azeroth in all history, as they got all the forces at their disposal. I know all of you have heard of the Void Lords by this point, but there is so much new information from the War Within recently that adds a whole lot more context. The lore we had known by now is that they're incredibly powerful, actually more powerful than the Titans, but they can only manifest this power within the Void plane of existence. That is why the Void Lords are jealous of the Titans' power, because the Titans can manifest themselves within the material plane and actually express their power. Recent lore from a former Blizzard dev has given us some initial concepts of when they created these pantheons, and apparently there was a light variant of the Void Lords called the Archons, and this makes complete sense as the light and the void is the same thing, just on different ends of the spectrum. That is a topic for another video that I have on the channel. What is really interesting about the Void Lords is that they're a threat unlike any we had ever faced. We recently learned that as beings of chaos they're not the equivalent of the Titans, like this pantheon coordinating together. In fact, as everything is chaotic within the Void realm, it doesn't follow a hierarchy, and it is likely that different Void Lords serve their own goals and they might even fight against each other. It is entirely possible that one Void Lord might even help us against the other, for example. However, recently we got yet another name. We don't know how many actually exist in total, but currently we know of two: Dimensius the All Devouring and Invalidus. We can see in both of them in their tiny avatar forms, one on Outland, the other on Draenor. Now, based on the recent War Within lore, it appears that Dimensius the All Devouring is the one that is behind what is currently going on, and he is after Azeroth. It is entirely possible that they could be working together, but we know for certain Dimensius is at least one Void Lord that is behind this upcoming invasion. What recent information revealed was that Dimensius is the actual master of Xal'atath, and he was actually present on Azeroth at some point in ancient history, very likely in some avatar form as well. We learned that at the peak of the Black Empire on Azeroth, Dimensius and Xal'atath were there together, and as a loyal servant he granted her a staff known as the Void Song, an incredibly ancient weapon even for that ancient time. Now with this, I want to say that I believe that the staff that he wield is much more than a weapon, and the name itself might reveal the lore. See, the staff is called a Void Song, and currently Azeroth is giving us a Radiant Song. Now, this would not be suspicious at all unless we learn that the planet we know for a fact Dimensius destroyed, called Karesh, also started giving the same Radiant Song before its ultimate destruction. So, who really is this new villain of the Warcraft universe, and why is he such a threat? Interesting enough, we have two documented planetary invasions executed by Dimensius himself, one that failed and one that was successful, and the third one is in progress right now, and both of them revealed information for what is going to happen in Midnight. So, you all know about this by now if you've been following the lore, so I don't want to talk too much about it, but Dimensius is the guy that destroyed the planet of the Ethereals. Back in the day, the Ethereals were just regular, intelligent mortals similar to us that were faced off by this giant void invasion. Dimensius, however, didn't invade in any way that we're used to. This was not portaling in a giant army and then destroying the planet from within. No, Dimensius baited the planet from the outside in void energies. The Ethereals started creating magical barriers to defend the energies, but eventually this led to an explosion that blew up the entire planet and it destroyed their physical forms. What is interesting is that we recently learned that Karesh also had the same voice Azeroth is giving us right now. I somehow feel like Xal'atath was present here and this Void Song was used. This must have been a mechanism of how the Void ultimately destroys the planet. Since then, the Ethereals lost their home, a faction of them called the Ethereum vowed vengeance upon this Void Lord in particular, and they had been tracking him ever since. Some Ethereals had even embraced the Void, similar to how the Demon Hunters had embraced the Fel. What is really interesting is that recently we got a ton of ethereal updates, so many new models, pretty much all the building blocks for a playable race, so this destruction of Karesh that happened in ancient history will definitely be expanded upon, and we will certainly get more details. The main point though is that Dimensius doesn't invade like the Scourge or the Legion, but instead he likely gets an energy source to summon himself around the planet and then just starts baiting it in void energies. I feel like somehow this is what Xal'atath is trying to accomplish by gathering this artifact and the power to summon him so that he can start his thing. This might be why it is going to happen at the Sunwell, where there is a big fountain of power. Sunwell is likely not going to be the broken shore portal where the Void army is going to march in, but just a way to get things going for Dimensius. We know of how he destroyed the planet once, but we also have another documented invasion of a planet, and interesting enough, it is tied to the Sunwell. So we know about a time where Dimensius failed and the people were saved. See, at one point, the Grand Void Lord decided to do the same thing to a planet called Karkora, but a powerful Naaru stepped in and saved the day. The Naaru blew itself up in a gigantic holy nova and expanded all its life force. This surge of the light completely banished Dimensius, and Karkora was saved. I don't know if you're connecting the dots here, but this is so obviously telling of what is going to happen to us in Midnight. One thing we have is the Sunwell where the invasion will happen, that Naaru was actually put in, and the second, it was confirmed on BlizzCon that the Light army will alive together with the Naaru, and that a giant battle between the Void and the Light will happen here. The Ethereals have been looking for a way to counter the Void since forever, and I'm pretty sure they know about this successful attempt, and I think the Naaru will have to save us because they know they can actually counter this guy. Interesting enough, Dimensius also probably learned his lesson as well, as he figured out his invasion can be stopped, so I think he knows how to counter them as well. What is certain, however, is that Midnight Invasion is going to be unlike anything we had ever seen in all of Azeroth's history. The entire creation of the Black Empire, the Old Gods, was made for this day. Almost everything the Void did was for this day. The Void is not really a cosmic ship army portaling in, but instead they will do something that we don't even expect. This is the whole reason why Sargeras started a crusade, because he knew these guys can't be defeated by conventional means. Chris Metzen confirmed Xal'atath is here to stay, so she is going to be here until the end. Dimensius is not just going to be a raid boss, a big bad that we end up defeating, but something very sinister, unexpected, and his ultimate defeat will lead into the Titans returning, which is going to be one crazy time for Azeroth. Thanks for watching. Check out my video on evidence for playable details by clicking on the screen, and check out my video on Peril and Psych Mythology by clicking on the screen as well. See you next time!